And that 20% has to be good looking, successful, and all the things that as women we ask for. I immediately take issue with this.
Time is money, so spend yours listening to me talk about things that are important to me and my people.
Time is money.
Hello and welcome. It feels so good to say that. I have missed podcasting so much in my small time that I haven't been around. This is not a sponsored podcast. It's not like I'm making any money off this. I know there are some fans, but it's not that this is like a viral thing. So it's a bit presumptuous of me to be talking as if there's 1,000 people who are missing out on this content and really upset that it's not happening. But I believe there are people who are smiling right now as they hear this voice coming out of their phone or their laptop or whatever they listen to on. So this is for you guys. I have missed podcasting so much, and I have been having the most stressful time of my life. I think about it often. I'm like, has this been more stressful than that? Has it been more stressful than that? Yes, it has been. I have had renovations going on in my flat for about 2 months now. We're coming up to 2 months. I've had other life stuff going on. I've had work literally killing me day by day. And I've just been in the fight or flight or freeze mode, and every day I fight. So that's why I haven't been able to podcast, because there's not been a seat I could sit on. The house has been shambolic, but we're finally in a place where I can sit and talk to you and you can take me in. A big reason that I needed to just get on it now is because I'm bubbling with things to say, and I don't have the social capacity anymore to have these conversations with that many people in real life. So I need to do it on a platform where people don't talk back at me, which sounds a bit insane, but I'm just being honest about where I'm at. Adolescence. If you haven't watched it on Netflix, you've heard about it. You've had the spoilers, you've seen the trailer, you've seen the snippets on social media. I would recommend watching it, but if you haven't watched it and you're not going to, this is going to explain the themes. So apologies in advance for any spoilers. And if you don't want to hear about them and you want to watch it yourself and then come back, pause, go watch it. It's only 4 episodes, and then come back. Let's get into the episode. Adolescence. As soon as I saw the trailer, I could see this was the first attempt at addressing the crisis we're in with incel men. If you don't know, incel stands for involuntarily celibate. I don't want to use the A word, but I feel like the first person that brought light to it might have been Andrew Tate. Essentially, this demographic of people are people, men, who feel like they are downtrodden because there are loads of men and 80% of women only want 20% of the available men. And that 20% has to be tall, good looking, successful, ambitious, got money, has his shit together, and all the things that as women we ask for. I immediately, not even a little bit, immediately take issue with this, because as a woman, I am extremely downtrodden. I am not just fighting in the workplace, I'm fighting on the street, I'm fighting to be safe, I'm fighting in a Western country for basic rights sometimes. I am struggling, and that is the case of all women. Now you add on another aspect, being a woman of colour, being a darker skinned woman, all of these things which make your privileges as a woman diminish more and more and more. So I'm already pissed off that there's a conversation about how hard it is for men. That's not to say that it isn't hard for men, but it's annoying that this is being projected and everyone is expected to be able to sympathise and have empathy for this group of men. The other side of it is, I believe that this epidemic of women only wanting a certain type of man isn't something that is extended to every single community, because I know, even just from the research of me being a woman and having a lot of female friends, a lot of the female friends I have are with men who do not fit this category of this 20%. Tall, handsome, ambitious, makes money, has his own place, drives a nice car. Majority of my friends are not with men like that. So where are these statistics coming from? Who are these women that are only going for this kind of men? Don't get me wrong, all my friends want that man. but nobody's actually with that man. So it doesn't mean that just because you want it, that's who you'll go out with, because there's obviously other aspects of the men that they are with that they love and they're okay and they're willing to look past certain things. And also, if we're going to have the conversation about what a man needs to be to attract a woman, let's have the conversation about what a woman needs to be to attract a man. We're living in the age of sex being accessible from your fingertips. You literally have to download an app and swipe. And women are being effed over left, right and centre. Good women who are doing everything for their often undeserving male partners, getting cheated on, getting treated badly, getting abused, getting all kinds of things. And we're still trying to talk about how hard it is for this sub group of men. I'm sorry, it enrages me. Now, I don't want to claim that I know all about it. Like, I don't know about this red pill, like different colour pill thing. I don't know about that. And I don't know about these, because I talk about it a lot on TikTok, and anytime I mention anything remotely race related, there'll be a man in the comments who'll be like, coming from a small town, it's really hard for me. Like, I don't come from a city. That means I have less advantage. I have less job opportunity. I have less this. I have less that. As a white male, I appreciate, in comparison to other white males, being a working class boy from a village somewhere, you may not have the same opportunities, but it's nothing compared to the lack of opportunities other ethnic groups. Like, I'm not going to feel sorry for you. So save your comments. You can still send them. They all end up in the to be approved pile anyway, because they're usually quite abusive. But I don't think it's worth us having that conversation. And this isn't a platform for that conversation. I'm merely talking about this incel thing. I think, though, despite my opinion on it, this is a real issue. There are a lot of young men who are, I don't even want to say young and old men, who do feel like they are being subsided for other men, and it's making them angry. It's making them hate women. It's making them be abusive towards women. When a man feels like he can't access women and he's not good enough and whatever, he then turns to hating that person that doesn't want him. Again, something women have had to deal with for millennia. Men choosing other women over them or looking past them or whatever. And we don't kill any men for it, but, you know, we're different species, I guess. So in the younger generation, it's really hard because on the one side, with all the language and understanding we have now around things like consent and coercion and the stuff I talk about all the time, which is really, really positive, I feel like women know so much more. So we're more armed to be like, I don't feel comfortable when you say that to me, or I don't feel comfortable if you look at me that way or touch me that way, or when I'm on public transport, men acting in a certain way. When I was younger, that was just standard, and now there's actually support there for it and people will stand up for you, and that's good. But then for the men, I don't know what's happened, because it doesn't feel like the male peers of those girls are having the same memo. It feels like they're going in the opposite direction and they're going backward in their thinking, and they're thinking more like women are the enemy. We need to oppress and abuse women. They've got too much power. Why aren't they back in the kitchen? Which is terrifying, but like I said, a real problem. Bringing this all back to Adolescence, I feel like as a body of work on Netflix, it was very good to see. I think Stephen Graham is a brilliant actor. And I think it was very genuine. I think this is literally how it goes. I think there are parents who are from a certain time and from certain backgrounds who have no idea about these things, like people being up all night on chat rooms and headsets and certain tech gear. They don't know about that, but they just blindly let their kids have access to it because that's the world we live in now, social media, all these things. And then the kid gets lost in this realm of dark narrative that women are the enemy, and the parents can't access them. But because the parents don't really understand what the kid is being exposed to, they don't know how to get them. And it happens in the show, like the mum says, I could see his light on in his room till like 1, 2 a.m. and I didn't know what he was doing, and a part of me was like, what was he doing? And I think that's just a story old as time, really. Like any parent who loses their child to any kind of cult behaviour, I would include gangs in that as well, because that's like a form of grooming, for spotting someone's vulnerabilities or their own low self-esteem and manipulating it. Same what happens here. Young men who are struggling to get female attention are turning to this group of other very toxic men, and they're using that as a bit of a fraternity. They're using that as like a family holding them. And this always happens. The real family can't access those kids because the kids feel like this new group of people who really understand them have their best interests at heart. So that really resonated, and I think it was good that that was shown because it's shown so often in other ways. And I think, yes, gang culture and all of these other things are very relevant and still affect a lot of people. But this online social media, no limits, dark web world is the issue that we're facing in this century or this year, this decade. So we need to be talking about that, and we need more people to know about it. So like we need our parents to know about it. And that's why it's so good it was on Netflix, because that's somewhere that older people frequent. We have all of these conversations on TikTok, but we're preaching to the converted. We're all on TikTok. Our parents are slowly getting there, which I don't really agree with, but fine. And we need it on a bigger mass scale because more people need to know. So I think it's been all in all a good start to the conversation, which is great. Do I think that this was the best show ever and it solved everything and now we don't need to do it? No, it's a start. It's the first of its kind. Similar actually to Baby Reindeer. Baby Reindeer was the first of its kind. It was the first to show, from what I've seen, the reality behind how male abuse can happen. And I think it was really good. It was the first of its kind. And I feel like because these things are first of their kinds, as like actual watching, there's not that much that you can compare it to. So you can't really say that was better than that because it's the first one there's been. But for me as a viewer, I'd had to forward some of it because I appreciate from an artistic perspective, the whole shooting it in one angle thing is great and I really appreciate that. But as a viewer, I don't want to see that. Like, I want it to be snappy. Do you know what I mean? But that's my one, that's the one thing I can say, which is not a bad thing. That's about the production. It's not even about the content. So that's still a win. So yeah, I had to come out of hiding and stop my podcast drought because I wanted to talk about adolescence. And I think as a show, as a message, it was good. It was just enough for people to have a conversation. And I think that's good. I don't think we always need to have a show that goes on for a long time and has an end conclusion, because that can then also make people a bit lazy with their thinking. And I think it was good this was left a bit open so that people can come up with their own understanding of it and look at how there's similarities in their life or the young men in their life, which they don't normally look at, or they just accept that that's just how kids are these days. And now we're looking at like, oh, should they be doing that though? Should they be in their room on their laptop till early morning and they've got school the next day? How are they being in school? What happens in school? Do boys and girls mix like that? Like, what's going on? So I think it has started a lot of conversations, and you know I'm all about thought provocation. So it's been good. I think I'll end it there. I've whittled on for a while now and I'm just reminding myself what it's like to podcast. So please, 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 can you subscribe? If you're new here, welcome, subscribe. If you are a resident, thank you so much for sticking with me. Are you subscribed? Please subscribe, grow, share, talk, message me. Let's get back into the swing of things. I'm going to be back on it again. Don't worry that I wasn't present for a while. Like I said, I've had a lot going on. I don't want to give you content that I can't fully be behind and my heart's not in, because any content creator will tell you, you can spend a long time, if your head and your heart aren't aligned and you're talking or you're doing something, you won't be happy with the content in the end anyway. So why did you just spend all that time doing it? And I don't want to do that. I want to put everything into it so that it's good value for you. So please continue to support. I really appreciate it. Big things coming, as always, working on things in the background, as always. And I will see you next week. Bye.